Feeling good. Feeling good. Feeling good, baby. Feeling good. What is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy pal High Art. I haven't been doing the show enough. I'm stumbling here. It's me, your buddy pal Hey Archer. Welcome back to Nerdy Coffee, the late night edition of Nerdy Coffee here on Nerd Affiliated. I am freaking, yep. I'm in a mood. The Acolyte has been canceled. Yeah, as Aaron just said, the people have won, and it is amazing. It is amazing. What I normally would say is I'm like closing tabs, opening tabs. What I normally would say is this is your weekly Monday morning nerdy talk show where we sit back, relax, and enjoy a nice hot or cold cup of brew and talk about the news. But oh baby, we're on that other stuff because it is the late nights, the evening time. Yes, it is. Oh, so good. One more. Yes. If you have a YouTube channel, podcast, blog, vlog, OnlyFans, newsletter, smoke signals, whatever it may be, put it in the chat. Support one another. Plug your shit. Plug your shit. I don't know what I did. The camera on my screen looks like different today, like in a good way. So let me know what you guys think, of course. Man. Also, if anybody wants to join the shenanigans, all you channel members, you have a link in the channel membership section of the site. So if you do want to join, you can. Be a nice shit talking session. But yeah, like I said, it looks different on my screen. Is it better on here too? Let me it does look better. Wow. I don't know what I did. There was an update to Ecamm, so I don't know if that helped any. Hopefully it did. Let me say I messed up the chat. Hang on. I got to move it up here and make it smaller. What is happening? What is happening here? There we go. Yeah. Aaron Waller in the house. Even though it's nerdy coffee, but it's evening, so we're going to hit the button. Good to see ya. The people have won, man. The people have won. T3 in the house. Good to see ya. He says you're at fault for this getting canceled. I'll take it. What are you having tonight? The tears of the people who like the Acolyte. I don't think my glass would be that full if that's whose tears I were drinking. I was drinking. You can't hear like the bottle really open of the whiskey, so I cracked the Liquid Death on the intro there. Patrick in the house, good to see you. Night coffee, this I can comprehend. Yeah, there's a little fly there. God damn it. Color grading looking good. Yeah, I don't know what happened. JK, no. I'll take responsibility. I canceled. I doubt it. I doubt it was me. Steve in the house, good to see you. T3 says, I couldn't even get past the third episode. Interesting. This isn't like a knock on you. Normally, you don't leave a lot of like bad reviews on things. Like you don't really trash things a lot. So interesting that even you couldn't get past that. Because I feel like you show a lot of mercy. Again, not in a bad way. Lenny's like that too. Lenny will give low scores on things. For those good tastes, by the way, make sure you guys subscribe. He'll give something a bad review, but still gives it grace because it's like they still made it, you know. But yeah, It's what a time to be alive. I was thinking as I was setting up the stream. Actually, by the way, before we do that, yeah, see, like it's even a different camera option today. I don't know what I did. I don't know how I, like, maybe fixed it or something. Where's my thing? There it is. All right. Shameless plug. I was fixing my glasses. There are no glasses on my face. Nerdaffiliated.com, your one-stop shop for all things nerd affiliated. Links to all the new videos, latest shorts. That's in the wrong spot. I'll fix that later. Yeah, links to everything. If you're into Ghostbusters, there's the Real Nerdbusters on Instagram, and of course therealnerdbusters.com for all your Ghostbusters related things. And then if you want to buy some merch, you can hit up the store as well. Pick up some cool items. Some cool items. I feel like I'm confused as to where my windows are. Move this one back down here. There we go. Easy. Don't forget to hit the like button, of course. And, man, let's pull this thing up. Let's pull this thing up. So I got this message from my friend Chris, a.k.a. Chris Hates Everything. And he was sad. He was actually sad that this got canceled. And I honestly could feel him on that. T3 said, well, The Crow is coming out Thursday night, so you'll either see a bad review or a good one. Very much up for debate at this point. Looks like The Crow is going to make all of, what, $20? Because you'll be the only one in the country going to see that movie. Who was it? I've been watching John Campea, a lot of him. And he's excited to go see the movie. But he acknowledges that, like, nobody's going to go see that. But I think also he's excited because he gets to watch movies for a job. So, Josh in the house, good to see you. Oh, so what I was going to say before. I was thinking. By the way, we are potentially going to be moving this. I'm going to call it a studio. I'm going to feel cool. We're potentially moving this studio, so some things are missing behind me, and there may be a period where, like, I'm just shooting this in a different spot or whatever until we figure that out. So that's why things may look a little different. I was thinking the ultimate. I'll get to your comment, Josh. The ultimate, like, late breaking news, like, celebration, or not late breaking, but like new breaking news, urgent news, special edition, whatever. I think the next time that happens will have to be if Kathleen ever leaves. I think that's the only thing that could be announced where I'm going to just, like, drop everything and I'm just going to go live. And we're going to freaking have a party. We're going to be popping bottles. We're going to be setting things on fire. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. But this is the next best thing at the moment, in my opinion. Josh says, I saw Deadpool versus Wolverine, by the way. Loved it. Good. I don't think anybody really will hate that movie. I know people, like, some YouTubers, I think they were giving it, like, not so great scores because I think they were attempting to, like, just be, like, different. Like, they just wanted to, like, be counterculture, you know? Because it's nostalgia, but it's one of those few examples where I could say nostalgia is done correctly. Like, I feel like all the nostalgia of the movie was done correctly. The plot, you know, you come to expect that in a Deadpool movie. Like, the plot's just, you know, whatever. That the plot's almost like secondary to the fun of the movie. And then, of course, at the end, the time of your life God, who's it? Green Day, right? Hope you had the time of your life. Tearjerker moment for us old heads. So, yeah. And then he says the theaters were busy where I live, sold out shows. Crazy. Was that recently? It was sold out? But, all right, let's get to the story. This is over at Deadline. This also was out on Variety and a couple other sites. What I was saying before, I've been saying a lot of things before. The other thing I was saying before, Chris, my friend Chris, is upset the show's canceled because he actually loved it. He loved it because it was so bad. He was like, there's no way that, like, it's just, he feels like they put so much effort into making it bad. He just had to watch it. He was like committed to it. He loved it. He was like, you even took an actor, didn't speak English, and it was very evident that he didn't speak English. You still made him the lead role. He's like, this is like, they're just tanking it on purpose. So I feel him on that. I did at a certain point enjoy the train wreck of it. I actually think I enjoyed the train wreck of this more than Ahsoka. Because Ahsoka I thought was offensive because you actually had good lore built up before that show. So I was like, there's no reason this should be bad. This one I was just like, oh, you guys are winging it. You think you're being edgy and cool, and you're bombing. So this is Deadline. The Acolyte canceled. No season 2 for Disney Plus's Star Wars series. Exclusive. The story of The Acolyte will not continue, with Lucasfilm opting not to proceed with the second season of the Star Wars offshoot starring Amandla Steinberg, sources tell Deadline. Whether the decision comes more than a month after the 8-episode first season of the series from the creator, director, executive producer, and showrunner Leslie Headland wrapped its run on Disney Plus. The news is not entirely surprising. The Acolyte did okay with critics, with a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, but divided the Star Wars fans, which was reflected in its overall viewership. So, here they say it was off to a strong start when it launched on June 4th with 2 episodes, generating 4.8 million views in its first day on the streamer, to rank as the biggest series premiere on Disney Plus this year. The tally rose to 11.1 million views globally after the first 5 days of streaming. Corroborating Disney's data, the series made its debut on the Nelson Top 10 original chart in the premiere week at number 7, 488 million minutes viewed, climbing to number 6 the following week. So these numbers I'm always like skeptical on. I've talked about this many times because Disney doesn't like always give you the exact numbers. A lot of this is just like professionals are figuring out this is how many people probably watched it and all this stuff. And they've got different ways to prove that, you know, at bare minimum, this many are watching or this many are watching. They look at like, is it trending? They look at, you know, hits online, that kind of thing. So Disney never has to like officially release like concrete numbers. That's never a thing. So this is one of those scenarios where, you know, we all speculated people were hate watching the show, and some people wanted to watch it just to see how bad it was. So that, of course, gets you a little bump. Just like with movies, the first, you know, episode or 2 episodes, always the highest amount because people want to watch it and see if they're going to invest their time and effort into it. This one just, you know, was what it was. But the Acolyte could not sustain momentum, dropping out of the top 10 in week 3 and staying off before returning to number 10 after the release of the finale. 335 million minutes, believed to be the lowest for a Star Wars series finale. Like fellow global streamers Netflix and Prime Video, Disney Plus has a high viewership threshold for renewing high-end, big-budget series that cost well above $100 million per season. So what's crazy here, right, if this number is remotely true. What's crazy is this had a lower viewership than everything. Than even Book of Boba Fett, which is crazy. Lower than The Acolyte. I would not have imagined that at all. Let's see. Book of Boba Fett episode list. So, episode 5, Return of the Mandalorian, then he's in... All right. So, the show, if they release the numbers, I assume the show got a bump at episode 5, and that probably led to the strong finish of Book of Boba Fett. Otherwise, I think this would have been the lowest on there. Because I think even at its worst, some Star Wars fans just want to see where it went. But that's how many casuals were probably not even paying attention, that it couldn't even get out of last place for lowest viewership, which is wild. Now, my big question here is what happens to Leslie? What happens to Leslie? Let's see if there's any other articles. I think everybody's saying, kind of the same thing. Yeah, considering the cliffhanger and yeah, nothing. I wonder if she said anything. Let's take a look. Because she's been pretty vocal on the show. Like, she's done podcasts and stuff. YouTube, does she have a X or an Instagram? So this person said, I hate this. Leslie Headland, the first woman to create a Star Wars series, tapped into something fresh and exciting in the fandom with season 1. And while I had my notes, she absolutely deserved a second season to let those ideas cook. We all lose with this. That is not true. That is not true. Let's... How can I log in? Hang on. Let me log into X. I want to see what the consensus is on the show. Also, I want to give a apology and a shout out to Art G. Monday night belongs to Art G, and I'm taking his time slot. So all respects to Art G. All right, so pulled up the old X here. Oh, and you went last Saturday. All right, cool. So yeah, that's pretty accurate. Finding out season 2 is canceled. Yeah. The fucking Mandalorian and Dumb Baby got 3 seasons and a movie, and you can't give the Acolyte you can't give the Acolyte one more final season. Interesting. Canceled. So you're telling me we all have to forget about one of the sickest Star Wars dark side users we've gotten in years. So I was thinking about this, and I did want to point it out. Hang on. Star Wars content been the same boring blaster pew pew media for years. Finally get a show diving into Jedi Sith lore, and you all get it canceled because the lead isn't a white man. Wow. No room for projects to grow their audiences. Just instant dismal for the people who worked on The Acolyte, Willow, and 100 other shows, all because of the short-sighted business. Streaming is the most... Like, people are mad the show got canceled. Holy shit. What does this guy say?
Renewed for a second season. Yeah, that's too bad, but you know what? Like, season 1, we've still got season 1, and it was a good first foray of live action into the High Republic. I'm sure we'll get more, more High Republic stuff, so. Who knows? Maybe even more stories about these characters. we're definitely going to get it continued in like novels and comics and things like that, because that's one of the cool things about Star Wars, right? To quote Leia, like, no one's ever really gone.
Wow. Oh. Wow. Wow. People are mad about this. The show is everything for me. How could you do that? And on Manny's birthday, fucking cruel. Holy shit. Do we have a prequel situation where something that's terrible, it turns out people actually loved it, and not even like years later, like episode 2 is trash. Phantom Menace as a whole is kind of trash. Highlights, but trash. The prequels are the worst between that and the OT. I'm not even counting the sequel series. We don't talk about that. But people love the prequels now. Do people love the Acolyte? Like it, and the rest of us are crazy? Wow. Were we all watching the same show? That is insane. Was this some A/B testing? Yeah. Shout out to Jose in the house. Good to see you. Holy shit. Is there a way I can, like, let's see. That was just top. So now if I go to latest. How did I cancel the Acolyte when I was supposed to do now in my life? All well, disappointed, heartbreaking. They're a joke. How does something as bad as Acolyte ever happen in the first place? Okay. Disney won't give money to the widower because she signed up for a free Disney Plus trial. I find it highly ghetto they canceled it. That was a crazy story, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that. Interesting. I mean, I don't think this is trolling. I don't think, because there's too many people doing this. You're catering to sexist and racist white men. What? Really bummed to not getting season 2. It took some big swings and I was here for it. I'm ready to see the story continue. It was fun while it lasted, but hey, we can't give up hope. Wow, people really like the show. This is insanity. This is absolute insanity. I was gonna say that the show might be canceled, right? But they can still, like have the Stranger have his own show or a movie. They could, I guess, OSHA. I don't know the sisters. I don't know the difference between the names. OSHA, whoever has her own story. It's not called the Acolyte. Like they can still do things, right? Even though the Acolyte's canceled, but it's a matter of, in my opinion, you'd have to get rid of Leslie, and the show stops. You can't just get rid of the show and keep Leslie. If you keep Leslie, she does other things. Then this is kind of dumb. This doesn't do anything. You might as well let her keep going with the show. But you got to dump Leslie, in my opinion, or you dump the writers of the show. In my opinion, I hate people. I don't want people to lose their jobs necessarily, but at the same time, you fucked up. You fucked up, Aaron. Yukon Phil in the house. Good to see you. There aren't enough dance emojis on the internet to express how happy I am about the news. I just don't know what this means overall. Wow, people like the show. And here's the thing. I was defending the show for record. I was defending the show against people who are like, this show is so much worse than everything else we've gotten. We've been getting a lot of shit. We've been getting a lot of trash. So I was defending the show because I was like, the show's trash, but everything else has been trash too. With some exceptions. We all know them. I don't have to repeat them. But this show gets canceled. But if Leslie's still here, if Kathleen's still here, I don't. It doesn't. I'm feeling it doesn't do much. I'm feeling it like it doesn't do much. This is crazy. Is there more? I stand by everything I said weeks ago. I don't know. They're a joke. We have no idea what they're doing. First of all, we saw that one already. At least we know everyone in the Acolyte is dead by the time the Phantom Menace rolls around. If you want to watch sci-fi shows created by a woman with bits of the Acolyte and Andor with quirky dialogue and a cool, fun vibe, check out Killjoys. First episode on YouTube, 5 season, 50 episodes. I don't know that one. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was 4 years old. The fans don't deserve Star Wars. They never deserve Star Wars. The Acolyte, Ahsoka, Solo, The Last Jedi, The Clone Wars, Phantom Menace, Return of the Jedi, and fuck Disney for pandering for vile people. Whoa. Wow. And nothing of value was lost. That's good. I like that one. You can be critical to Acolyte and still recognize how important it was narratively, thematically, and creatively to Star Wars. Calling it woke and ignoring all nuance on the topic is rife with ignorance. Star Wars is going to hurt because of this. I don't think so. I agree that there was a lot of ist to this going into it and during it for sure. But I think one of the best ways to combat anybody who's racist, sexist, anti-gay, I think the best way to combat that stuff usually, this is going to sound stupid, is a good story. It's a good story. I think of the hate House of the Dragon got before it released, when people saw the group that were all black, but they had the white dreads. People were hating on that. Woke, trash, whatever. And of recent months, people were trashing the Batman Cape Crusader because Penguin was gender swapped. People were bashing that right away. Both shows no longer hold criticism because they're actually good shows. So while, yes, there's a lot of blankists that attack these shows at the gate, usually they're pretty silenced by people telling them, hey, by the way, you idiot, it's a good show. So that's where the Acolyte could have combated all that stuff. Terrible show. It's a terrible show. The real reason behind the Acolyte being canceled is simple, really. The fans pay the bills. They buy the merch, the Disney Plus subscription, the tickets, but they were not buying this. And they were very loud about it. Yes, Disney, you must pander to fans. They are the customer. True in theory, but I don't think the hardcore fan that would cancel Disney Plus, I don't think there's enough of them to offset the casuals who keep Disney Plus. I'll say it again. I think this statement is true, right? So like Yukon Phil, you canceled your Disney Plus on this show. So like the statement's true. Fans talk with their money. So like Phil canceling his Disney Plus is him saying, I'm not buying this. I'm done with it. Right? Which is fair. Isn't that part of capitalism, right? You're selling as much as you could sell to whoever wants to buy it. And then if they're not buying it, then you're effed, but you have free reign to sell to as much as you want to. Like, that's kind of how this works. But with something like Disney, Star Wars is just one segment of Disney. And the hardcore fans are even a smaller segment of the overall Star Wars fan base. So I don't think there's enough people who said, this sucks, I'm canceling, to make a dent in Disney Plus, where they're like, whoa, something's wrong. Just going to refill. Patrick says, Umbrella Academy, how Elliot Page had his transition handled on the show, thumbs up. Yeah. So, yes and no, in my opinion. In season 3, that's when Elliot transitioned. It was an off-screen transition. And I thought in the first episode of season 3, they handled it perfect. They were like, they literally like kind of walk in and they're just like, hey. And I don't remember the character's name. But we'll just say Elliot. It's like, oh, I'm Elliot now. And they were like, oh, okay. And then they kept going, right? It was like, yeah, that's who you are now. We accept it. Cool. Roll with it. Every character kept walking in being like, oh, I'm Elliot now. Oh, okay. Move on. Keep going. I thought it was great. They had like another part, maybe episode 2. It's been a while since I watched it, where somebody's like, why did you switch it or whatever? And Elliot is like, I did it because I feel like I'm me now, whatever. Again, good. I think past that, it seemed like that kept coming up every episode. And I was like, bro, I get it. Let's move on. Like that. I think that's where Umbrella Academy like kind of wore that out over time as the show went on. I thought season 3 was terrible overall. So that's not even tied to why I'm not even interested in season 4. But I thought the first episode, the first 2 episodes, the way they addressed it, I was like, great. It's just the show went terrible after that. I haven't heard a good thing about season 4. So we'll see. Let's keep going. This, like, WTF, I like Ahsoka, but it was so much more of a narrative mess than the Acolyte was. I'm craving Acolyte more than Ahsoka, and she's my number 1 Star Wars character. What does that tell you? Wow. This is wild. Goodbye. You were bigger than a whole sky. You were more than just a short time. The fuck? Show's full of cool ideas that were not executed well on screen. Yeah. I'm not saying the folks who hated the Acolyte would have loved Order 66 in real life. I'm just really bummed. Manny deserves a Quamir movie. Fantastic. Yeah, I'll give him that. That's the thing. Isn't it funny how in all these, in pretty much every movie, you have characters that don't even have the most screen time. They're like kind of important sometimes. Sometimes they don't even talk. And they're like more popular than like the main characters in these movies. So in this case, The Stranger. I thought The Stranger was the best part of this show. I thought the fight was dope. I think that people who rag on the fight where he takes out the Jedi, I think it's ridiculous. I think people ragging on it, it's just ridiculous. It's one of the better fights we've had in a long time. Could it have been better? Sure. But it's not a movie. It's a show. It should have been a movie. I think this would have been done better as a movie than a TV show. But he was great. In Ahsoka, you had Balin, right? Barely in the show. Number 1 character in the whole thing. And everybody brings up Balin when they're talking about the Ahsoka show. OT trilogy, Boba Fett, didn't even do shit. People love Boba Fett. So they somehow, Kylo Ren, like the Knights of Ren gear. People love that stuff. Hate the story, hate the movies. So they keep killing it with like these character designs and these stoic characters that don't really talk a lot, but they just really seem to tank after that. Wow. Interesting. The absolute devastation I had after my initial denial of this news is crushing. Why can't the fans who actually respect Star Wars win? I adore the Acolyte, and I'm wildly pissed at Disney and Lucasfilm for this decision. You let the hate win. Wow. I got to go see what the man is saying. I mean, I know he's going to be happy about it. What's Star Wars Theory saying? That's good. Is he streaming right now? Star Wars Theory doing Acolyte's canceled stream. Don't see anything. All right. He's definitely going to talk about it, though. He'll talk about it. Wow. Oh, Star Wars Sith did a video. Let's watch that.
So we got some news here. Several different outlets are kind of reporting this all right now as of like 12 minutes ago.
Shout out to Star Wars Sith and shout out to General Kenobi's Bunker. Both were at Fan Expo Chicago. Both got a chance to meet Hayden and Mark Hamill. Living their best lives.
So like super recent, but looks like Acolyte is not getting a season 2, that it's not going to be renewed, picked up, and it's one and done. So we're going to take a look at the few articles that I found, but you guys let me know in the comments, did you want an Acolyte season 2? Did you enjoy season 1, or are you happy that they're not making a season 2? Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought. So first, my brother actually just sent me this tweet from Discussing Film, and all it says is the Acolyte has been canceled by Disney Plus after 1 season. But I didn't see like any article or nothing, so I'm like, oh, I mean, well, where are you getting this from? But I seen on Instagram the homie Sems Nerd reposted IGN. So IGN also dropped an article, and in their article, the Acolyte won't be renewed for a second season on Disney Plus. The news comes more than a month after the first season finished airing. So what they're said basically is it looks like the Acolyte, the last live action Star Wars series on Disney Plus, will not be getting a second season. The news comes via a report from Deadline, whose sources tell the outlet that Disney has elected to not proceed with season 2. Disney has not yet made an official announcement over whether or not the Acolyte would continue, and IGN has reached out to Disney for comment. So this story is still developing. So then I clicked the link here to take a look at the Deadline article, and it's basically the same thing, that Lucasfilm is opting to not proceed with the second season of Star Wars Acolyte. Now, this doesn't surprise me. I mean, it kind of does, because I figured they would double down and do another season, because typically they're very firm with their decisions, whether we want it or not. Not saying that we might not have wanted a second season of Acolyte. The first season for me was very mixed. There were some things that I liked. There was probably more that I didn't enjoy. So this news doesn't really upset me as much. But I mean, season 2 of Acolyte, I'm fine with that story not continuing for the Acolyte. It would be nice to get something with Khmer, some sort of spin-off or like a prequel of Khmer turning to the dark side. That would be cool. But the main thing is Plagueis. Get with James Luceno. Give us Plagueis.
All right, so make sure you guys check out the rest of the video. There's about 2 minutes left. Somebody is backstage, wants to join the stream, and let me add the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Rambling Nerd Anthony is in the house. How are you doing?
I am much better now. Much better now.
So, I mean, we know how you feel there, but what do you think about with Star Wars Sith, what you're saying about we should still get more of maybe some of the things it did set up?
I hope he's wrong. I hope we don't. I hope they just relegate this show to, well, this happened and we're never going to elaborate on it again. I was trying to think of an example of when they've done that in the past, but just this is one time to take a page out of Kyle Ren's book and let the past die and just move on from there. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
This I haven't read anything. I just saw the chat where you guys were talking about it, and then that's why I decided to jump on. But yeah, this is the best possible outcome. I hope they don't do anything, because as they were talking, it's like, oh yeah, no, they're gonna they're probably gonna do a bait and switch. Like, there's no Acolyte season 2, but there is Darth Plagueis season 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
So hopefully they don't do that. Hopefully somebody at somebody at Lucasfilm is just like, yeah, maybe we need to do a course correction on Star Wars and not put this out.
But why, like, so my thing is, why is this the show? I kind of now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still happy the show's gone. But my thing is, like, why is this the one of everything? So, like, I'm going to pull up here. Let's see, all Disney Star Wars projects. Let's give me a list. Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
Well, can I speculate?
Yeah, go for it.
Before you even like saying like maybe it's just because the other ones are already like they're in the can. So it's kind of like, all right, we're gonna have to ride this out. Like, I mean, what else is really coming out? There's that
Skeleton Crew.
I was gonna say Pirate Crew, Skeleton Crew, uh, and that's it. I really don't know what else is coming out, but maybe it's just because everything else. Okay, like Andor season 2. I don't know. Maybe this is just kind of like an announcement. It's giving them too much credit. Maybe this is like hey, okay, we heard you. We're not going to do more of this, and then like maybe we just have to ride out whatever they have coming, or maybe they can fix whatever they have coming. And this is kind of just like an olive branch to the fandom. To be like, hey, we heard you. We're not going to continue with this. We've already spent a lot of money on this stuff. We'll try to retool it, and then we're going to try to get this thing back on track.
But I don't. The reason I disagree is kind of back to the same question of why this one, because the thing is they're still making money. Like, as much as fans want to make videos, fans in quotes, I guess, but as much as fans want to make videos about like Disney Star Wars sucks, like they're losing money, like the stock price is affected by Star Wars. As much as they make all these videos, the numbers say otherwise. Like, they're still making money on Star Wars. And as far as I know, there hasn't been any major like shot caller changes, like the people who run the show. So like, as I'm going, like, I have the list up here. You know, Ahsoka, again, some of us did not like the show at all. Apparently more people seem to like it than I thought, but didn't do crazy numbers. It didn't hit any Mandalorian territory, which is what now you want to hit every time. So that wasn't even close. Mandalorian, obviously, first 2 seasons did well. Season 3, shit. Kenobi didn't do that well. I don't think Andor did well. Then you have The Acolyte, terrible. Bad Batch, again, hardcores liked it. That's probably who it's just for. They probably factored that in. Book of Boba Fett, terrible. Solo, terrible. Rebels, again, hardcores like it. Did most people watch it? No. Rogue One, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you where that falls. Skeleton Crew to be determined. Resistance, terrible. That got canceled. Force Awakens made every dime on the planet, so we can't say anything about that.
Yeah.
Young Jedi Adventures, terrible. Visions, only hardcores watched it. So like, what? 3 things maybe did well across the board. Everything else, at most, you got hardcores to watch a season of it. Everything else, no. So I'm like, why is this the one that they're just like, pull the plug and make it like public? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. My best theory is what I laid out. Maybe it's like the olive branch to the fandom.
Yeah. The other part that's confusing here is they said, you know, actually, I feel like they advertised how this would be the almost like the flagship of, we can do Star Wars outside of the Skywalker saga. But yet they somehow found the way to still tie it to that. So I feel like they failed on that. But again, I'm like, why not? And who knows? Maybe we're going to get more stuff that's in that time period, maybe even before it. But I'm like, I'm almost like, again, why cancel this? To who was it? You that said it? Like, usually they're pretty. Oh no, Star Wars had said it. They're usually pretty committed on their decisions. I'm like, again, why cancel this one? But you've made no other changes. Like, you've not fired people. You've not I don't know. It's confusing. Now, the more that we talk about this, I'm like almost confused as to why this one's canceled.
Maybe this is also just the first piece of news. Maybe in the
Yeah.
days and weeks, we're going to hear that a certain person has resigned or retired or whatever, and Jon Favreau is the new head of everything, and who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good time to be a Star Wars fan again.
So this is what I'm afraid of. Aaron's point here. I just hope they don't decide that returning to the Skywalker saga is the move. That's what I would imagine. Because if this is an olive branch, then to me, they're like, all right, we're gonna go back to what works, and what works is Skywalker, 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 Skywalker. So
Yeah, they need to finish up what they're doing in this era. Make the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Make that really be like the bow. I tie it in a bow, I guess, to end the Skywalker stuff, or well, you know what I mean.
yeah,
End the new Skywalker stuff, and then they need to fast forward. I'm sorry, get beyond Rey, do like 3, 4, 500 years down the line, if not a whole thousand. Just put a good chunk of distance on this. If you want to do flashbacks, you can have the Millennium Falcon, or not flashbacks, but callbacks.
yeah.
The Millennium Falcon is in a museum, and then we see it in one of the movies or something. I don't know, but yeah, no, they need to. I'm with you. They need to finish what they're doing now, and then leave the time period altogether.
This is gonna be probably a controversial question, and I pose it to the chat as well. Do we need a Star Wars soft reboot? And let me, before everybody attacks me, I don't mean like everything starts over. Like, this is Phantom Menace again. This is whatever again. I mean like the way that Strange New Worlds and the I guess the J.J. Abrams movies were a reboot. But I feel like Strange New Worlds, I feel like, is almost more soft reboot or alternate reality. Like, you have Captain Pike, he knows his future, but like there's still kind of like things could go another direction because he knows his future. So you kind of like start this like alternate timeline thing. Do we need something like that in Star Wars to just be like an entire universe of a what if? Like, here's what happens if Luke Skywalker died. And then you have an entire thing continue,
Well,
I don't know.
If you don't want to talk about it now, in our private chat, I'm going to need you to tell me what you mean that Pike knows his fate in detail. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. They like the 1,000 years or whatever time jump they want to do. To me, that's a soft reboot. Like, it is what it is. I mean, in my wildest reboot hope would be they have, excuse me, hang on a second. I'm going to mute you while I.
And yes, Michael Fang, that's actually what I wanted out of Bad Batch, but we didn't get it.
Back. In my wildest reboot fantasies, we see Sebastian Stan playing Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian and Grogu or whatever, or something. He comes out of a Force meditation and he goes, we hear like, I don't know the curse in Star Wars before, I think, but whatever. He goes, holy shit. Well, that's not going to happen on my watch. And he Force visioned the sequel trilogy, and then he fixes it from there. That's my wildest. But in reality, I think they just need to do a time jump. They're not gonna erase anything from existence or anything, or continuity, I should say. So the soft reboot for me would be just like skip ahead a couple hundred years at a minimum and introduce us to a Jedi Order that's a little bit better than the one we saw last. Maybe they're in a new galactic war with the Sith this time. I don't need the whole Empire and Rebellion thing played out again, like we got with the First Order
Mm-hmm.
and the Resistance. So yes, short answer, yes.
So I'm going to spoil that part of Strange New Worlds because it doesn't ruin the show.
Okay.
If it was going to ruin the show, I wouldn't say it. And by the way, Michael has an idea here for, first of all, he mentioned a Saving Private Ryan like film with the Bad Batch. That's what I thought we were going to be getting with the show, but we didn't get that. So I'm mad about that. But then he said reboot the sequel trilogy, do a Mara Jade storyline. So it kind of ties into what you were saying and where I'm going to go with Star Trek here. In Star Trek Discovery, it's Star Trek's in a very like bizarre space, no pun intended, as far as like what's canon and not canon, because you have actually I'm gonna start with the cartoon. There's the cartoon Lower Decks. That show just got canceled. They're doing their final season. It's a great show. It being canceled, I think, is just because Star Trek's struggling as a whole, but also it being a cartoon. I didn't give it a shot. I was forced to watch it by the missus. Therefore, I gave it a shot, and I was like, oh, this is actually really good. So I understand why most people have not watched it, similar to Clone Wars. People are like, oh, I don't like that animation, whatever, I'm going to skip it. I get it. Lower Decks is a cartoon, but there's lots of crossovers in the cartoon with characters that we know. There's, Riker, there's Janeway. Then Strange New Worlds does a crossover with Lower Decks. So you're like, oh, okay, so the same people exist on all of that, right? Your Rikers, your Picards, your Janeways, all that stuff. So now we know that's all a thing. In Star Trek Discovery, the first TV show of like we'll call it the Abrams universe because it's that same style. Okay. In Discovery, they get to meet Captain Pike. They meet the Enterprise. There's an episode where if you like do a thing, you see your future. Pike does it for the sake of like moving the story along. He sees his future, and as a viewer, you know his future, but he doesn't know it. He sees his future, and he sees that he's like deformed. He's in the chair, like everything got fucked up. And he keeps that in his head. He sees it. They move on. We get the spin-off show, Strange New Worlds, and the show starts off with him like quitting Starfleet because he's like, I don't want that to be my future. I know what's going to happen, so I'm not going to do it. But the show goes on, and it's almost alluded that he can avoid that. It's not said, but it's almost alluded like, all right, there is a way that this show can progress, and that future he saw doesn't end up being his future. So, but it's still hazy. It's not like definitive. So I almost wonder if that's what you need here, where it's like things happen in this like new show, and we can keep it kind of gray as it progresses to see if the cast of characters stays the same. Like you still have your like I said, your Rikers, your Picards, your Kirks, they're all still here, but the story's different. Even though it's the same names, same representation of who they are, that kind of thing. So soft-ish reboot. I wonder if you can do that. But to your point, maybe you can do that in the form of here's a new story. Here is 1,000 years in the future. Because we all have to remember the way they've established this, actually based on the Sith, is Star Wars is like the Matrix. Like everything keeps happening again and again. It's just different people. Right. So if you have strong light side of the Force, Sith get created. You have strong dark side of the Force, light side gets created. It's always going to happen. So you could do a story 1,000 years in the future. Nobody even talks about Vader and all them because they're so far removed. Doesn't matter. And then you do your own like else world or alternate timeline type thing. I think you can't do twins anymore. I think you ruined that with the Acolyte. Like, if they do twins again, it's like, all right, bro, come on.
Twins and the force impregnating
Yeah.
or creating life. That's off the table in the new whatever they do.
But here's the thing: is it if that's what the Force always tries to do? If the Force always tries to have balance, are you not allowed to have twins anymore?
Well, who says it has to be twins? Like the Force can still create life, but I don't know that we need twins because I mean, well, we'll never know. Hopefully, what OSHA and May. Maybe they'll do a comic. I will say this: if they did a comic that righted all this, because like I said last time on live, this misses occasionally. Nothing's perfect,
Yep.
but for the most part, the Star Wars comics that are being put out by Marvel, firing on all cylinders. So go there to get more of your Vader and your Luke Skywalker. So if somebody were to fix it in comics, or if they just had a really great idea to fix it and they got rid of the person who created the whole thing, but then everybody's going to argue, oh, you took it away from her, and everything's like, well, but it sucks, and we're stuck with this now, so we can ignore it or we can try to fix it and move on. But she's not the solution. But maybe if they did it in comics, otherwise I hope we never see that again. But we didn't really need twins because like the fact that Luke and Leia are twins doesn't really matter. I don't think.
But it does because you had Vader and Palpatine. Here's the thing, if we're going
talking about
on
for the balance,
if we're going on original idea, but now that's all muddied because every time you turn around, there's a new story with a new freaking I was gonna say Acolyte with a new Inquisitor or something, and a new Jedi's found that. So I feel like that diminishes the Luke and Leia thing as time goes on. See you later, Josh. But, Luke and Leia, I think, were essential to balance against Palpatine and Vader.
only in the cosmic sense, because in the literal sense, well, okay. Before I get people mad at me, I'm not downplaying what Leia did as a general in the rebellion, but in terms of Force stuff, she didn't do shit. Even
Correct.
after the fact, when she started doing the training, she stopped when she saw Ben die in the vision.
Yeah.
So, except in terms of her being a potential Jedi versus the two Sith, and even then, everything was kind of out of whack for a minute anyway, and then it balances. You have Vader and Palpatine, and you have Yoda and Obi-Wan. Those are the only two guys left in the whole galaxy. Balance. Luke comes around. Obi-Wan takes his nap. Okay, he's on the road to a Jedi. Luke and Yoda still 2 and 2. I don't think because they didn't have her do that. I don't think she mattered in the terms of the Force, balancing the Force. I don't know. So I just don't think you need twins. You can just have a super powerful light or dark side user to balance the new Jedi Order or the new Sith Armada.
I want to disagree. I hear you though.
I mean, listen, if they do
it,
like I said with anything, if they do it right, if you want to do a season for the Acolyte, fix it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Like,
yeah.
Don't do what you did. Don't do what Lucas did. Don't wait 3 whole movies and have the two of them. Oh my God, is it going to be Han and Leia, or is it going to be Luke and Leia? And then at the end, you're like, oh my God, it was almost Luke and Leia. I don't need any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, to Dave's point here, higher rambling nerd. I agree. I just feel like they all like, and maybe this is something that happened behind the scenes. Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool and all the money it's making. I'm like, this is proof that if you have a fan run this thing, you could get some success. You can get a good product out of this thing. I don't know how much corporate oversight was in Deadpool. Like, we'll never know. All we know is it's making all the money. We all enjoyed it. With Star Wars, at a certain point, I feel like to make the fans happy overall, you're going to need a real Star Wars nerd at, not just one, multiple that are helping to write this stuff and in the room. Like I said, I think Star Trek's doing it the best at the moment between the two franchises. I think one of the issues with Discovery that I didn't know about until a couple months ago, I'm forgetting his name. There's a YouTuber I started watching his videos. If it comes to me, I'll put it in the comments or description. I didn't realize Discovery had a new director or showrunner, I should say, every season. And because you had a new one every season, they were always consistently trying to outdo the last person. So every season it was like, this is a universe-ending event. We have to stop it. And it was just like, repeat. But at its core, it felt like a Star Trek fan was involved in the show. Strange New Worlds, same thing. It feels like Star Trek fans are all over that show. I'm sure people could nitpick it, but it feels like Star Trek fans are there. Lower Decks, 1,000% feels like Star Trek fans are involved in the show. Star Wars, I think Tales of the Jedi Season 1 is the only time I felt like Star Wars fans are in the room. Because there's more than one thing that happens that's good. Not just like, oh, this one cool thing happens. It felt like the whole process was made by fans.
Mandalorian Season 1.
Yeah. My only issue there, I would say, is the Beskar. I feel like I feel like not enough people push back in the writers' room about Beskar being like invincible, because that opened the can of worms, and the helmet thing opened like a ton of worms. Like, oh, I don't take my helmet off. We don't do that. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, but then Season 2 they explain it, so you're like, oh.
But not really.
Well, you have to go back to,
No, because
they don't do it as much in Clone Wars, but
they talk
kind
about
of
that.
explain it. They say that like they're zealots. That's why.
Yeah, well, they were like, oh, they're zealots of the zealots. like you had Death Watch, and they're like, oh no, but they're like extreme Death Watch. Like they're just like they're way over there, like it's like And the thing that still gets me is, what the hell? What's her name?
Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah, what's her character?
Bo-Katan.
I'm like, Bo-Katan was a terrorist in Clone Wars. She was part of a terrorist organization. They bombed the school. They poisoned the school. Bombed the park, and they're like, "Oh no, I was just trying to save my people." I mean, you guys really should like figure out a way to like rewrite some of this. I don't know. Just to acknowledge war crimes occurred under her watch. Well, she wasn't in charge, but she was like second command. I don't know. Michael says, no, Mandalore wasn't like that in the Clone Wars. Yeah, Mandalore in the Clone Wars, it was all blonde hair, blue eye. Death Watch was on whatever that moon was.
Right.
And everybody was rocking with no helmets on.
Yeah. No, I couldn't. I remember that like the Mandalorians took it off. I just said this in the chat too. I just couldn't remember if like Death Watch kept it on, but they don't because you see Bo-Katan's face.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull it up to see if they can show it on.
Oh, you're gonna get a strike.
No, not. I'm not pulling up a video. I was gonna try to find like pictures and stuff. Oh, here we go.
I got you. So what's the next piece of news you would hope that they release if this is the first of many announcements about a change in Lucasfilm? What's the next tremor in the Force?
I didn't see this one coming, so I got nothing. I feel like the Jedi in when Order 66 happened, we're just like, what? I didn't know this was happening. I mean, like I said, Kathleen Kennedy going, I think would be earth shattering. Like That's just
Oh yeah, we're gonna be partying like the Death
yeah,
Star 2 blew up if she finally goes.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But you know,
I'll also say this now, by the way. I'm sorry to cut you off. Kathleen Kennedy retires. I'm on the road. If you want to meet me halfway, but I'm on the road. And we're getting shit faced.
yeah, on stream,
Yeah. Oh
cigars,
yeah.
yeah, the whole thing, the whole nine. But here's the thing: I don't know who I trust to take it from her. Because you know we love Dave, we love John, but they were still involved in season 3 of Mandalorian. So
Right.
And don't forget, Dave got his promotion. So was season 3 of Mando Dave with more control and he chose that? Or was it, I'm so busy, I'll trust you to do it and I'll sign off on it, and then we got the shit? We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Now, we got like at the end of the day, all we can ever go off of is Clone Wars. We got Clone Wars when nobody wanted Star Wars, and it was great. So whatever that formula was, that's what we need to replicate. Just like X-Men 97. Like whatever the formula was back then, find a way to replicate it, do it again, and that's the council that should be running Star Wars going forward.
Yeah.
Best way I can explain.
I would. Another wildest, far-fetched idea.
Mhm.
Lucas comes back, not to because he doesn't want to make it till he dies, and he's up there now. How old is he? Like he's got to be in his 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But like maybe he comes back and he has like some notes, and they're like, hey, so, and he goes, yeah, I know, here, and just like like throws file folders on the desk, one for everybody in the room, and he's like, there you go, I got you, bye, and then he just leaves, and like,
Yeah,
he's
but
somehow involved in the story again.
here's the thing.
Dave said
Like,
it.
no, but we can't forget Lucas Unhinged was episodes 1, 2, and 3. Like,
Well, yeah, that's why you need some. That's why I'm not saying him back as the head guy. I'm saying them calling him in and be like, hey, listen, so, let's call it what it is. We fucked up. We have ideas, and like, get John and Dave in there, obviously. And if he's just like, well, yeah, I can't do an impression. I'm sorry. Sorry, I even tried it. And then he's just, makes some scribblings on the paper. Or, I mean, I guess they do have his treatments for the sequel trilogy, but I don't want them to go back and redo it unless they decide to do the Force Vision thing that I'd said, which would be crazy. Imagine how many people get, like, as bad as it was, all those actors, all those people involved, that's a huge fuck you if they actually had the balls to do the real sequel trilogy, right?
yeah,
So,
I do
but
want
yeah,
to
make
show
him an
that.
advisor.
I want to show this off. I didn't realize it's already been over an hour. This is a good time. This is a good stream. So I Google searched episode 9 concept story, and the reason I pulled this up was, Colin Trevorrow. I guess this, like, he had an idea for how the episode would go, Rise of Skywalker,
Mm-hmm.
and they reneged on it, and they were just like, no, we're going back to, JJ and all sorts of, bullshit on it. But I think the idea here came kind of from Lucas type stuff, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I, researched it, but I would love for them to go a direction like this, where there's like a siege of Coruscant, like where the capital is, that's where things are going down. We have something where, the Sith are in control. Jedi have to show, hey, we are good guys. Watch us do good things. Like, I feel like we haven't really had that. The Rise of Skywalker stuff, I don't think that was really proven that. But Um, this darker feel of there's a war happening. I think that's what we need. And if it's Lucas that can get us there with, consulting it, sure. I also kind of want them to redo the whole like bad guys are the main characters, because we didn't get that with the Acolyte. So I'm down for a show like Sopranos, where not necessarily a mob. If they could do a mob movie or a mob show, I'd be down. But a show where like you're rooting for the character and then you're constantly reminded like, fuck, they're bad.
Well, that's what Book of Boba Fett should have been. He should have been that. He should have been like breaking legs and, everything else. He should have been happily taking the tribute in his helmet and whatnot. He shouldn't have been, these are my people, and I'll protect them and all that stupid shit. Like, I can understand him bonding with the Tuscans a little bit if they helped him out.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like the rest of the people of Tatooine, no.
Yeah. They were like, "Who are you, bro?"
Yeah.
It's funny. I was watching a debate on TV up here in Boston, and it was a debate amongst three guys running for the Republican nominee for Senate to be on the ticket to go against the Democrat. And the three guys up there, they're arguing with each other. And the one guy is like, for the record, I'm like the only person up here that's actually from Massachusetts. Like the other two just came in out of left field and were like, I'm a Bostonian now. So like, I don't know. I feel that way sometimes in Star Wars, where it's like, everybody comes in and like, oh, I'm a Star Wars fan now. And they come up with this shit. I'm like, were you though? Like, there should be a test. There should be a written test before you write this stuff. Like, who won the pod racing scene in episode 1? Name them. And most people are going to be like, Luke Skywalker. All right, you're out.
Yeah.
What was it?
Luke won the pod racing scene and Anakin destroyed the Death Star. Didn't you watch that interview with the
Acolyte?
Acolyte?
Yeah. I was like, what did that guy say? It was it's like something like a Death Star. Oh, man.
And X-23 is over there like, shut up, stop.
Yeah.
Get her back too, by the way.
She was great. Killed her off.
Yeah. I still can't believe that Leslie Headland spoiled the show in that interview with like 2 or 3 episodes left, where she revealed that, anybody who knows about this guy is going to die. What?
It was one of, I don't know. I'm on the fence with that one. Because I feel like, we knew that everybody had to, but then they didn't.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, everybody had to. We knew that, but like for the creator to spoil it, that's,
Yeah.
That was a step too far.
Yeah. Well. Any last words before we wrap this? Is it a celebration? I don't know.
I think it's a celebration. Hopefully this is the first of a busy week of Star Wars news and last minute live streams to cover it.
All right. I will give you that. If this is the catalyst for other exciting things, I'm all in.
Mm-hmm.
We need, in Star Wars, we need an X-Men 97. We need something to happen that, like, universally, everybody's just like, fuck yes. They're just like, let's do this. This is it. I've been waiting. You guys were kids with us when it came. Like, we need that. And we haven't had that in Star Wars, I feel, since Vader at the end of Rogue One. That's the last time I feel like a Star Wars fan was involved. We need someone like Nick Gillard doing lightsaber choreography. Here's the thing. I'm going to disagree with that statement, not because I don't like the prequel trilogy lightsaber choreography, but because you have so many YouTubers out there that are freaking doing it on their own, like Mike Skywalker or Starkiller, whatever his name is. Like, you got legit lightsaber choreography like competitions. Like, you don't even need that one guy to do it. You can just grab any of these people out there. They'll do it. And Nick Gillard, if I remember correctly, with the Star Wars Theory interview, he was like, I didn't know shit about Star Wars. I was just like, oh, like this, oh, they could do this. They're this agile. They can, lightsabers act like this. And they came up with it. But he wasn't a Star Wars fan. So I feel like we can up the ante at this point. Don't get me wrong. I'll take Nick back. I'm not saying don't hire him, but I'm saying you still have other options now of Star Wars fans that could do it easily for way less money if that's the issue. But they got all the money, so stop being. Just fire Kathleen Kennedy and just let the fans. I don't know.
Yeah, just pay her out.
Pay her out.
Do whatever you got to do. Get her out of there.
Yeah, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. And get rid of Leslie too. Sorry, Leslie. I liked your interview only because I was just like, wow, you have the balls to do this and nobody else does. But you're out of here too. And it says something that every director, like on every Star Wars property or project, like leaves. Like that's an issue. So,
Oh yeah.
But we need
So
an X-Men
stop interfering
97.
so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all we got. I'm still TBD on Nerdy Coffee. Obviously, this episode was random because of the news. I had to stream on this one, as we've talked about. If Kathleen was to leave, pandemonium.
Oh yeah.
They would be world
Huge
peace.
party.
They would be world peace. I mean, I don't freaking the election would be canceled, be postponed. The Middle East war would even be a thing anymore. It was just peace everywhere. The Phantom Menace would cease to exist if Kathleen got removed. So I'm hoping that's next time we do an emergency live stream. But that aside, I'm still trying to figure out the second day of the week to do another live. I'm gonna aim to do 2 live streams a week. Hey Archer Live, of course, remains 8:15-ish on Thursdays. The other one, TBD. That we're gonna figure out. But it's funny. I missed not doing the show this morning. I was kind of sad, but then like afterwards, I was like happy I didn't do it. So I got to find something that just works. But, just for nostalgia, I'm gonna do box office recap before we wrap.
Yeah, I was going to ask earlier, what is Deadpool and Wolverine up to anyway? And now we'll find out.
Yeah. So was dethroned by Alien Romulus. That pulled $42 million this weekend. I think if I was a betting man prior to the weekend, I would have assumed it'd be around the 40, only because they were marketing this thing hard. I would have had my opinion skewed by Furiosa because Furiosa was also marketed hard. I watched the first almost third of Furiosa this weekend. It was so terrible I had to stop. So I was like, okay, I understand why this movie bombed. So that would have affected my decision here. But I think because the early screenings of Romulus were good, I would have probably said 40. But it dethroned Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine is up to 1.1, we'll round it up, 1.2 billion worldwide. Let's check the list. I'm in the wrong browser. Let's see here. If I go 2025. Actually, why am I doing that? I could just... They will tell me. So worldwide, 2024 is catching up to Inside Out 2. It's close enough. It might pass it, but that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to do. But Romulus, it's getting great reviews. It's funny, Disney continues to kill it on the year. So once again, as people trash Disney, you get a Romulus Deadpool and Wolverine. They keep doing the damn thing because they own it all.
Yeah.
Do you have any interest in watching Romulus?
I kind of do because, like, I've seen all of them, and obviously, like, we know which ones are actually the good ones.
Yeah.
But because I've heard that this is good, and I'm interested because they go back to they go back and they're scavenging the station from Alien, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So be interested to see that. I haven't actually watched the original in a very long time. I should probably do that.
So Mike says people are really against the one thing they did in Romulus. I think it was quite fitting. Yeah, I don't know what that thing is, but so you were mentioning the other movies. I feel like it's a pointless argument to rank the movies because I feel like universally it's like 1, 2, and then this one. Like I haven't even seen this movie. But people are like, oh, it's number 3, like easily. And I'm like, all right, sure. I'm not going to argue that. But 1 and 2 are always going to be 1 and 2. You can maybe argue the order. I just feel like they're so different of a movie. It's like, do you prefer action movies or horror movies? Is how you determine number 1. But as far as like doing something different in this movie, this weekend I watched both prequels, Prometheus and Covenant. Covenant? I think Covenant.
Covenant.
Yeah. And they took real huge swings at the lore in those two movies. And I feel like people didn't care as much. So I'm wondering if this, whatever the issue is here that you're pointing out, I'm wondering if it's big enough to like rock the fan base. But every review I watch, they talk about Act 3 of this movie. And I'm like, I almost have to watch this movie just so the third act is not spoiled for me. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Civil War Civil War, the airport thing, where it was like, oh, the airport.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of that because everybody keeps saying like, oh man, Act 3. Oh man, the third act of this movie. Oh man, the end of this movie. We'll see.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to the theaters and watch this, or are you going to wait till it comes out?
It's funny. I was going to watch it tonight, and I'm glad I didn't because we did this stream. But, wait, Michael says, I won't spoil it. Let's just say that Indiana Jones 5 pulled that young Harrison Ford CGI thing. It was something like that. Interesting.
Oh.
Okay.
I can venture a guess at what it is, but I won't.
I'm gonna say your guess is wrong because people aren't. I haven't seen a lot of good reviews where they point out something like that. So I'm wondering what that is.
Mm.
That's a good point. I'm gonna see it in theaters. I've never watched an Aliens movie in theaters. I saw AVP in theaters, but I've never watched a dedicated Alien movie in theaters. So maybe this will be it.
Okay. Cool.
What about you?
Maybe. If I can, I mean, not that you need to, but if I can get my hands on the first one, I'm sure it's streaming on Hulu. Actually, probably is on
Yeah,
Hulu.
it's streaming. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll watch that on Hulu, and then that'll be what I do this weekend.
Yeah.
But it'll be a weekend thing. I'm not going to run out tomorrow and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I don't know if he said when he was in the chat, brace yourself. Josh sat through Deadpool and Wolverine and didn't fall asleep.
Yeah, he wrote that earlier today. Yeah. I was shocked.
Yeah, me too. That man was out cold in the first 15 to 20 minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Yeah. And every movie he and I watch, he falls asleep. So
yeah,
that's a shocker.
Mm.
All right, dude. Thanks for jumping on. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on today. It was a good time. Like I said, I'll figure out the day and time for the second stream, so that way that's very consistent. But let me know your thoughts down below on the Acolyte, because apparently, according to X, people are mad. It got canceled. Maybe we are the minority where we're like, we thought the show was trash, but everybody else that loved it. Who knows? Who knows? But that wraps. And what music do I hit today? Do I hit the Nerdy Coffee music or the Hey Archer Live music?
The coffee.
There you go. Well, Hey Archer Live is every Thursday, 8:15ish p.m. here on Nerd Affiliated. Anthony continues to keep the channel alive. He's got a couple of new videos coming out. He's got another comic review dropping tomorrow, I believe. And then you have an
9:15
unboxing.
a.m.
There you go.
And
Hair
an
to Live on
unboxing
Thursday.
on Friday.
There you go. Loaded. I'm super pumped for his cosplay. He's got some good things cooking on his Ghostbusters cosplay, so stay tuned for that. And if I end up watching Alien Romulus, I will definitely drop some sort of video here on the channel. Yeah. I don't know how this video came out good today. I'll try to replicate it on Thursday. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace. I'm out of here.